Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Today was a little bit better day than yesterday. Yesterday was a red day. Today we have a green day, at least across the board, pretty much on the markets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that has done well. We also have had the ECB, which is the European Commission on Banking, I believe, raise interest rates by 50 basis points. That was kind of out of the blue there. People were thinking that with everything that was going on with Credit Suisse, that would be coming down, but it didn't. So here's what we got going on. We are going to take a look at a couple of things. We're going to take a look at the market, see what's going on there. We're also going to take a look at Bitcoin dominance nears 50%. Research hails bullish narrative flip, so that's going to be a good sign there. We also have Sphere 3D provides production updates for February. We'll look at that. And then Marathon provided their fiscal year 2022 end of year results. We'll also take a look at the Q4 results for that. So it's going to be a little bit long video, but we'll get through this as always. And then I'm going to put in the chapters on below for you guys as always. So as always, this is not financial advice. We're going to only do your own research. Don't fall for scams. Spam posts get reported and deleted. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. So let's get into the markets here really quick. Right now, Bitcoin is at 25,039. It is up today. It's got 23 more minutes to go in the day, but it is up 2.74, 2.73% right now. It is, as you can see here, battling or slightly battling with the 200 weekly moving average, which is our red line right here. We battled with this in the past. We battled this basically at the, middle of February here, towards the end of February. And we weren't able to get above it, close above it. I was thinking possibly that this was going to happen on Tuesday of this week, where we were at a high of 26,553, but we didn't close below it. We fell below the 200 weekly moving average. So now we're still battling with it. I'm hoping that by the end of this week, possibly tomorrow, maybe into the weekend, we'll close above it. And that would be a good sign. That would get us a little bit more bullish indicator on that one. As far as we're looking at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that the RSI has come up a little bit here. It's at 66 right now. It's still not too bad. It has come down in price as well, but it does have room to run a little bit more. On the 1-hour chart, we can see here that we've been kind of trading sideways here as far as the RSI, along with the price action here. And like I said, we are battling with that 200 weekly moving average as well. We did bounce off of our support here, roughly here, which is at 23,800, 23,900, somewhere around there. This is kind of our little support here. We'll see if it continues to bounce off of that, or if we're going to continue going up. I think we're going to continue going up a little bit here, but I wouldn't be surprised if you had a little bit of a pullback to like the 21,300 mark, just to kind of ease things on the RSI a little bit for not only the daily, but also on the 4-hour chart. We kind of need to get a little bit of a breather in there. Okay, so that's Bitcoin right now. Ethereum, same thing. Ethereum is up just a little bit here, 1.35% to 1,678. It's following suit with Bitcoin as well. And then the markets were up today as well nicely. The S&P was up 1.76%. Dow Jones was up 1.17%. NASDAQ was up 2.69%. So it was a good day in the markets. And then also oil has been coming down here. I don't have oil here, but oil is like down $15 in the last week or so. So that's been great there as well. So it's going to help out, and we'll see how things progress. Now, the miners were a little bit mixed today. Any was, actually, let me get rid of these lines here to make it easier to see. Go on the daily chart. Okay, Any was up today 2.31% to 30 cents. Argo was down 2.52% to $1.55. Bit Digital was up 2.54% to $1.21. Bitfarms was up 3.74% to 84 cents. Cypher was up today 7.1% to $1.96. CleanSpark was up just a little bit, 0.44% to $2.30. Cores was up 6.03% to 32 cents. DigiHost was up 3.36 to $1.54. DMG was up 4.84%. Greenwich was up 3.89%. Hive was up 3.21%. Hut 8 was up 4.24% to $1.72. Iris was up 9.56% to $2.98. Marathon was up 7.62% to $7.63. So they actually had a pretty good day, considering that their results weren't all that great for the year. We'll take a look at that. Mawson was down 1.43% to $2.40. Riot was up 5.38% to $7.05. Soluna was down 2.37 to 28 cents. And then Terra Wolf was down 3.31% to 54 cents. So like I said, a little bit of a mixed day here on the markets for the Bitcoin miners. Let's take a look at the network hash rate, see where that is standing at right now. And let's get this refreshed. And we're looking at the 7-day average. 7-day average right now is at 318 million terahashes. And on the single day average, We did come up here to 357, came back down a little bit here to 316, and then back up to 318 million. So trend line is still going up in that direction. Okay, so that covers markets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the miners. Let's get into the stories that we do have here, and we'll get through this relatively quickly. So Bitcoin dominance nears 50% as research hails bullish narrative flip. This is a good thing. The calm down of the past 9 months has disappeared during this week's bank's crisis-inspired Bitcoin price surge, which is good and true. But here's what we do have. In the latest knock-on effect from this week's surge above 26,000, data from TradingView shows that Bitcoin market cap dominance is nearing 46%, its highest in 9 months. So new dominance spike hints at a trend change to come. So this is great news for us. Up almost 3% since the week alone, Bitcoin dominance shows a trend-setting move by the largest crypto asset reminiscent of classic bull cycles. So this has happened before. When dominance spikes in Bitcoin, we usually start getting into a bull cycle. Every Bitcoin bull market has commenced with a spike in BTC dominance, as has every bear market. Market commentator TED Talks Macro noted on March 15th. And accompanying charts showed that such dominance spikes tend to precede significant trend shifts in BTC price action. So that's good there. Okay, going down here, we can also see that the Bitcoin narrative goes from bearish to bullish. It has been a long, cold winter for Bitcoin and crypto. However, recent events have helped to catapult near-term price and importantly have shifted the narrative from bearish to bullish. Contributor Miffy summarized. Of particular interest is the 21,800. Should a retracement kick in, with decent trader eyeing 30,000 as a potential upside target. So if we come back down, kind of like I said, we may go back up to around 30,000, which wouldn't be too bad. And I think we might be able to go, well, 30,000 was definitely doable, but I was looking at closer to like 28, 29,000, but still 30,000 is right in that range. Okay, in the near term, shorts have been squeezed, late longs punished, and right now price is retesting underneath the 200 weekly moving average, which we just spoke about. If price does need to drop down to generate enough momentum to take the next leg up to 30,000, the one-day support is at 21,800 is a clear target, but for the 4-hour support is holding well at 23,900. If you concluded, so that's good. And importantly though, we have seen a major narrative shift for Bitcoin with a clear breakaway from traditional markets, which continue to struggle due to their economic troubles and the banking blow-ups. We may see sell outside interest return to Bitcoin if its price rises further and its use case becomes clearer as the traditional banking system continues to implode. So I think this is all definitely good news for us going forward. And we'll just keep an eye on it, see how it goes. But it will definitely help us out and also help out the miners. So let's take a look at our next story here. Sphere 3D provides their Bitcoin production update for February. And this is basically not much of an improvement from the month prior, but here's what we do have. So production remains stable month over month at 35.06 Bitcoins. Operations achieved 90.6 BTC per efficiency per exahash. Uptime was 89%. So they did some curtailing during that time frame. And here are the CEO comments. So February was a game-changing month for Sphere 3D. We successfully found homes for and began deploying the majority of the 11,000 plus miners we received in January. We forged new partnerships with hosting providers in record time to flip the gap left by the December 2022 Core Scientific bankruptcy. With the miners currently being deployed in March and April, our fleet is expected to be fully homed, and upon energization, we expect to be at approximately 1.5 exahash. So that would be basically almost 1 exahash more than where they are right now. Compute North updates. So they continue to work with Compute North and their bankruptcy lawyers for the return of our deposits through the Chapter 11 process. So they had some money in there. And then miner delivery update. We have begun deployment to several hosting partners for March and April energization. We deployed 2,400 miners to Lancium mining at their Texas facility. Lancium has the latest state-of-the-art technology in immersion mining. We are in discussions with another hosting provider to place 5,000 plus miners, which we expect to be hashing in the next 30 to 45 days, as well as in definitive agreement to place another 2,000 plus miners. So that's good there. With the deployments above, we will have successfully placed the majority of our current fleet. So that's also good as well. They've been struggling here for a long time, for pretty much all of last year, trying to get miners for one thing. And then the other thing was getting hosting for them. So they had Core Scientific, Compute North, and now, Core Scientific and Compute North are the ones that they were going with, and both have gone into bankruptcy. So Core Scientific update. As previously disclosed by the company, Sphere 3D filed an arbitration request against Core Scientific and its claim for the non-refunded portion of the company's advanced deposits. So they're still working on that. And then Bitcoin production, we pretty much went over that. Let's see here, what else was interesting here. During February, the company employed a hybrid strategy of liquidating during Bitcoin price upswings and HODL. For the remainder of its holdings, the company liquidated 41.45 Bitcoin during the month to fund working capital and hosting deposits for our S19J Pros. So that's fine there. And then as of February 28th, the company was operating approximately 4,330 S19J Pros, miners delivering a production capacity of approximately 433 petahash, which is what I have them at right now. And then their HODL position was at the end of February, 12.9 Bitcoin. It looks like they sold, production was 35.1, but they only held on to 12.9, so they sold, like they said here, 41.45 roughly Bitcoins during that time frame, which is okay. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them. We'll kind of go through this. And I did not update the price, so the price is going to be a little off here. I will get this updated as always, and then this will be available to my Patreon members as always. After I'm done recording the video, that'll get uploaded for them. Okay, so currently shares outstanding is 68.6 million shares. Stock price is around 38 cents. Market cap is about 21 million right now. Current hash rate is 433. Future hash rate is supposed to be about 1.7 exahash. They're about 25% installed right now, and they still have about 292% growth left in them. BTC HODL is at 12.9. That's valued at about 290,000 right now. And their production has increased here in January. Has come down a little bit in February, which is to be understood. February was a shorter month, so that's fine there. Their efficiency, they said they had 90 point something. I got them at 80.97. Not sure how they're calculating the 90, but I'm calculating it based on the amount of Bitcoins that were mined and their hash rate that they were operating at that time. They might be using the average for the days that they were actually running. That might be how they were calculating that. Okay, so efficiency has been coming down here a little bit. So has BTC production, which isn't too bad. Now we know that they didn't install anything in here. We know that they sold some Bitcoins, sold about 950,000 worth roughly, and they generated about 817,000 for the month. So they sold a little bit more than they generated for the month, which is okay. They had a little bit of a surplus of Bitcoins. And when we look at it here, we know that they didn't install anything in February, but they did mine only for about 25.6 days, which got us to the 817,000 that they reported as far as Bitcoin being mined. So I'm using the Bitcoin average price for February, not the end of the month, but the average price. Okay, now institutions, this is where it gets kind of bad here for them a little bit. Institutions did decrease their shares quite a bit here. So when I checked it today, institutions were at 29, so that's a decrease from 30 from last month. Shares decreased a lot here. They decreased by about, well, almost 4 million something shares. They're down to 944,000 shares being owned by institutions compared to 5.6 million. So that is a big decrease, and then percentage owned went way down here as well to 1.38% from 8.17%. As far as analyst targets for their stock price, we don't have anything that's blank. Nobody's covering them right now, so that's all zeros, and that's kind of where they're at right now. Now, looking as far as what we have for them for where I think they should be valued at right now, based on their current revenue for the quarter, which is going to be possibly around 2.5 million if nothing changes. Obviously, they're saying that they're going to get miners installed in March. We'll see how many of the miners they do get installed. That may help them out a little bit here, and also depending where Bitcoin price goes. So that's an estimate. We're also using the last 3 quarters as always. Last 3 quarters, 2 quarters are definitive numbers, and then the 4th quarter we're using an estimate that I have also for them. So based on that, with the combined total, we get a 5.2 million roughly, 50% net income from gross revenue, with a PE of 15, which is kind of high end for them. I have them at 57 cents right now. Based on that, and if we use 75% net income, they'd be at 86. But if we bring them down to about a 10 PE, because their growth is limited a little bit here, they're around 38 cents. So they're pretty close to that right now, being around 30 cents. Not too far off from that. So I do think there are other miners that are far more undervalued than these guys are currently. Okay, so let me know what you guys think of them as far as their growth, everything else. And is anybody investing in them or looking to invest in them? Let me know. And let me know what you guys thought of their updates. Obviously, it wasn't a great month for them. It was just a flat month. No changes, really. They were just mining as always. Okay, biggest thing for them is they got to get growth. They got to get hosting up. They got to get the miners installed. And they got to continue to grow. Okay, that is it. So let's take a look at our next story here, which is going to be on Marathon. So Marathon provided their fiscal year 2022 results. And here are some of the details here. Oh, I didn't actually highlight these, but we'll just go through it here. So fiscal year 2022 financial results, the company recorded a net loss of $686.7 million, or $6.05 loss per share during the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2022, compared to the net loss of $37.1 million, or 37 cents per share in the prior year ended 2021. Obviously, a lot of things went wrong for us in 2022. Bitcoin price was going down, downward cash rate was going up. They had problems with their Montana hardened facility. They had problems with Compute North, I believe it was. I don't think they were, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't think they had anything to do with Core Scientific in there. But Compute North was one of the ones that was definitely hurt them there, getting miners installed and everything else. So they had a lot of stuff going bad for them for the year. So let's continue on here. Let's get into the numbers that we do have. Let's see, unfavorable variances during the year compared to the prior year include a fourth quarter impairment charge related to the carrying value of mining rigs and advances to vendors of $33.29 million, declines in the carrying value of digital assets, both impairments and realized and unrealized losses of $317 million. So if they were selling last year or towards the end of 2021, even in the beginning of 2022, they could have had a heck of a lot more cash on hand than they, instead of doing a full 100% hodl thing, which wasn't great. Hopefully they learn from this, that they will continue to sell monthly at least a portion of it. And then lower total margins of $150.4 million, resulting primarily from the impact of lower Bitcoin prices on revenue, $77.3 million. Accelerated costs related to the previous reported exit from the hardened facility of $54.3 million. And increased depreciation costs related to an increase in mining rigs in operation of $27.8 million. Impairments of $55.7 million related to the previously disclosed Compute North bankruptcy. All right. So that was a big hit there as well. The previously disclosed legal reserves of $26.1 million, which is a lot of legal reserves. Increased interest expense of $13.4 million. And then partially offsetting these unfavorable variances was a significant reduction in general and administrative expenses of $117 million, primarily associated with lower stock-based compensation. And then gains on sales of mining rigs of $83.9 million and $44.4 million in favorable income tax variance. So some good, some bad, but still bad. It was a bad year. It's definitely a big loss for them. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them, and we'll call it a day. So let's see, where's Marathon? There. Marathon. Okay. So I pulled all the data here into my spreadsheet so that way we can compare it from quarter to quarter to quarter, see how things are going, if they're progressing, if they're not getting better, if they're getting worse. And the first portion here is where I do a lot of the metrics calculations, so we'll get into this last. We'll take a look at their assets now and compare it to where they were quarter prior. So currently, cash and cash equivalents, they have about $103.7 million in cash compared to 55, so that's good. That's definitely been a nice increase there. Restricted cash is still 8.8. Based on from prior quarters, so that's the same. Digital currencies went down a little bit here to 121 million from 126. Digital currencies restricted to 0 as it was before. Digital currencies held, no, those are all 0. Let's see here, receivable form sale of equipment is 18. What else do we have here? Deposits of 2.3 million compared to 22 million, so that's a big decrease there as well. And prepaid expenses and other current assets went way up to 40.8 million. So total current assets increased, which was good, 277 million for the quarter and for the year, basically, compared to 240 million in Q3. Next is other assets. So property and equipment came way down here to 273 million from 403. So that's where they're reevaluating their mining equipment and everything else. They don't have any facilities really now. So it's just basically on their miners right now. Let's see, advances to vendors also decreased here to 488 million from 687. They've been getting miners in, so that's being accounted for that. Investments still at 37 million. I think it's the same as it was here in Q3. I mean, we're off by a couple of dollars. What else? We have digital currency restricted is down to 40.9 from 70.4, so that's good there. They also, I think, paid all of this stuff off now in Q1 of 2023, so that'll be good there. Long-term prepaids about the same, 8.3 million. Long-term deposits, it was way down 1.2 from 26 million. And digital assets restricted this is a new one here that they added in here, was 68.8. Not sure. Digital assets, I wonder if this should be over here, maybe something. Digital currencies restricted, digital assets. I'm thinking these two are the same, but this is the way that they reported it. So it's kind of confusing here a little bit. So I wonder if this should be, well, no, they reported that one as well. So I'm not sure on that one. So total assets combined is 1.195 billion. So that's pretty big there. Their current market cap is lower than that. Their current market cap is 833. So based on that alone, they're undervalued, in my opinion. Next is liabilities and stockholder equity. Current accounts payable is down to 1.3 million from 19. So that's down quite a bit here. Accrued expenses is way up to 22.2 million from 2 million. It's a huge increase there. Legal reserves is, let me see, was at 21. Now they're seeing it's only at 1.1. Operating lease expenses, 326. So that's about the same, a little bit higher there. Current portion of accrued bond interest was down to 1 million from 2.8. So that's fine. Total current liabilities is 26.1. So that's a nice decrease there from 45. So that's good there. Other long-term liabilities, convertible notes, 732 million. Those are for the miners that are going to be, I think this is not due until 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I think it's not due until then. Term loan of 49.8, so that's still the same. Operating lease is also down a little bit here to 1 million from 1.1. Deferred tax liabilities, nothing in towards the end here. And then total long-term liabilities, or total liabilities, 809 million from 850 million. So that's an improvement there, so that's good there. And let's see here. Additional paid-in capital was 1.2 billion. Accumulated deficit was 840 negative. So total liabilities and stockholder equity was 1.195 billion on that one. Revenue here increased nicely for the fourth quarter. It was 28.4 for the year. They had 117. So I was really, really close to what they reported. I was at, I think I was off by 0.03% on that. So really happy with that number. We'll take a look at it when we go back towards the top. But mining has improved here. Obviously, their Q3 was pretty bad, 12.69 million compared to 24.9 in Q2. And they had a really good quarter in Q1 of 51 million. But we know Bitcoin price went down, hash rate went up, so that's the reason for that. Cost of revenue also here, energy went up a little bit here to 15.8 million from 13.7, which is fine. They also installed more miners. And then cost of revenue minus depreciation and amortization, that was negative 27 million, and that's based on, yeah. So they had 78 million for the year for that one, and energy for the year was 72 on that one. Other operating expenses, compensation-related taxes. For the quarter, it looks like it came in at, well, they reported here on the fiscal year 2022 numbers at 0. So it looks like that went up to 10.3 million, looks like. Professional fees, 2.24. Also, I'm pulling this from the Q1 numbers here. That's kind of how I'm getting the positive here, unless they move the numbers over to something else. General and administrative expenses was 30 for the quarter. Looks like 56 for the year. They were at 1.3 Q1. Huge increase in Q2 to 12.6. Also, Q3 was 12.3 and now 30.3 million in Q4, which is a huge increase. And based on that, I wanted to show you guys this, kind of what I looked into it here from their numbers. General administrative expenses. So general administrative expenses, excluding stock-based compensation, was 32,144,000 in the current year period, compared with 13,569,000 in the prior year. This 18,575,000 increase in expenses was primarily due to the increase in the scale of the business, including higher payroll and benefits cost of 7.173 million, increased professional fees of 3.59 million, and an increased insurance cost of 3.8 million, higher travel and conference costs of 2.186 million, and let's see here, and higher costs in various other areas related to the increased scale of the business, including higher property taxes, banking fees, rent expense, computer costs, and equipment repairs. So that's kind of what that all entails there. Okay, just wanted to point that out. Let's go back here. Where were we? Legal reserves was 1.1. We talked about the impairment of deposits due to vendor bankruptcy, 16 million here in the fourth quarter. Total was 24 million. Impairment of digital currencies was 20.1 million for the quarter. Prior to that was 5.9. And for the year, it's basically 173 million negative. Let's see, impairment of patents was actually a positive 363,000 looks like. Impairment of mining equipment and advances to vendors was, here's a big one there, negative 332 million. So that's a lot there. Realized and unrealized gain losses was 14.4 million. Gain on sale of equipment and net digital assets. So they sold the facility, Montana hardened facility. That was almost 52 million there. And then realized, unrealized gains, losses on digital assets held within investment fund. So they lost 85 million, it looks like there. Total operating expenses was 436 million negative. Operating income loss was 451 million. And let's see here. Other non-operating income, 1.28. That was a new one there that popped up. What else do we have here? That's kind of gain on sale of equipment. So that's coming in here as well. 5.8. They sold some of the equipment. Other income expenses. So operating income loss total was 434 million negative. Let's see here. Operating expenses, non-operating income expense, 165,000, or 165 million there. No, 165,280. Yeah, because that's coming up from this one over here. 6.5 million in interest expenses. Income tax benefit was 16 million compared to 5. Total was 21. And total other income expenses was 22 million for the quarter compared to 5.7. Income loss before income tax expense or benefit, negative 412 million. And then income tax expense here was 5.5 million. Along here. And let's see here. Net loss was $406 million for the quarter, $686 million for the year. So $6.05 per share on that one. And then they reported basic and diluted shares outstanding. The average was 113 million at the end of the year. They had Q3 was 116, so not sure where Q4 is going to fall in on that one. Okay, but based on all the information that we do have here, BTC mined for the quarter was 1,562. Starting hash rate was 3.7 exahash. They ended the quarter at 7 exahash. And the average hash rate was 5.35 exahash. Hash rate increased by 3.3 exahash, which was good. They did a lot of installing during that time frame, getting things energized. So that was great. BTC mined per exahash for the quarter was 291 Bitcoins. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin with everything included was 278,000. And then cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation was 10,000. Right, yeah. So that's a big difference here. Definitely helped out from Q3. Q3 was 22 for some reason on that one. Enterprise value is 755 million right now. So that's pretty close to their market cap. Debt to equity is 2.096. So that is good. Well, not good. We want that lower. Usually want that lower below 1. Current ratio, we want that to be higher, above 1. So that's at 10.62. So that's good there. Book value of equity, assets minus liabilities, BVE, is 385 million, almost 386. And price to book ratio is 2.159. Revenue we talked about was 28.4 million. General administrative was 30.356. That's 106% of basically their revenue there. So they're spending more on general administrative compensation than they are generating income. That's not good. That's got to get definitely improved on that one. Okay. For the year, however, it came in at 48.18%. Revenue was 117 million. General administrative was 56 million. So they had a lot that they added in here in Q4. Okay. That entails that. Based on all the numbers that we do have here, like I said, they came in at 28.423. I had them at 28.431. I was off by 0.03%. Couldn't be much happier than that. So that's kind of where we have them at now. We are looking to be possibly at around 50 million, depending on how many days they actually mine in March. And see here, January, they only mined 27 days, February, 23 days. I have them at 31 days in March, potentially. We'll see if they can keep that up. Also, how many miners they get energized in March will definitely tell us where they're going to be. But right now, we're looking at about 50 million in revenue for them. That's a huge improvement, almost double from where they were in Q4. So that's getting them back up to where they were in basically Q1 of last year, pretty close to that. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually beat that this time around, depending where Bitcoin goes up in price and how many miners they get installed. Okay, so based on all that information that we do have here, currently the last 4 quarters, well, now we have the current quarter already reported, but we're using the current quarter as an estimate. The last 3 quarters are actual numbers. Combined, we have 116 million total right now. 50% discount or 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking with a P of 20 of $9.94, and then 75% net income at $14.91. It's kind of where I would see them being fairly priced. They're pretty close to that. They're still $2, almost $3 away from that. from their current stock price. I think it's somewhere around $7 right now. So I do think that they are still slightly undervalued. Not that much, but they are definitely undervalued in my opinion right now. Okay. So that is it. Let me know what you guys think of all of this. A lot of numbers as always. The year was bad. It's going to be bad for pretty much everybody that we know as far as in the mining space for 2022. Hopefully 2023 is starting to shape up like it's going to be a better year. We'll see if that is the case actually. Right now it's looking like it, which is going to be great. And so that should be a good year for the miners, for Bitcoin, and it should be pretty good. But as always, this is not financial advice. You guys need to do your own research. So let me know what you guys thought of all this. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. As always, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.